Instead of being a psh, it was more like a psh. They all sound psh, psh, psh. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a little bit of how-to today, and it's really a fairly simple topic, but there are a couple of key things that I want to go over with you that I had to figure out for myself. So we have the Maverick R here that I'm going to upgrade the boost tubes. There's the factory ones. They look pretty good, actually, the factory ones. But I'm going to upgrade them to the EVO boost tubes. There's the other one, if you can see it or not. I mean, they're silicone now, I guess. They seem to be pretty good. But what's missing on these boost tubes is a little port right here. Missing a little port for a little thing that goes psh, psh. You know what that is. So what I did is EVO has their boost tubes with a blow-off valve kit. So I got that coming. And here it is. And here is the driver's side, passenger side, blow-off valve. Excuse my little T that fell off here. And here is a plug in case you don't use a blow-off valve. It goes right here. That's going to come in later on the story. But this is pretty much what you get minus a couple of hoses that are already on the car. Why are the hoses on the car? Well, because I care about you guys so much, I've already installed all this that I just showed you, but I didn't do a video. So in order to do the video, I put all the stock stuff back on and took the EVO stuff off, except for I did leave the vacuum line on, and that's another story we're going to go over in just a minute. So here we go. We're going to take these off and we're going to install the new ones, and it's a pretty simple job. But again, there are a couple of nuances that I think you need to know about that's not explained in the instructions from EVO. Stand by. Okay, again, fairly simple job, but because I'm lazy, I'm going to use a power tool. Now, also because I'm a rebel, I am using a 5/16 socket here, instead of what's probably a 8mm. Loosen the two clamps. Again, mine's been off before, so it come off pretty easy. You may have to tug on it just a tad. Okay, that's off. Let's jump to the other side. Okay, and now we're going to take this side off. Guess what? It's the same size socket for both boost tubes. I know you're surprised by that. Just make sure you don't loosen that hose clamp too far where it comes apart. It comes off, and this one down here is going directly onto the turbo. So might be your first time actually seeing what the turbo looks like. You can see about a quarter of it. Let's go to the bench. Okay, again, because I care so much for you, even though this has all been installed once before, I'm going to do it again. Here's the original boost tubes. When you get these on the bench, I want you to take a look and see how much oil's coming out of here. Why is there oil? Is your turbo bad? Do you have a issue with the rings or whatever? No. The Maverick R puts out quite a bit of boost. Creates a lot of crankcase pressure. That vents out through a hose that goes back into your air cleaner, and guess what? That goes all the way through these tubes, all the way through your intercooler. It stains your oil filter. It stains your air filter. So you're bound to get some oil if you don't have a catch can. Catch can, EVO. We need a catch can. So these are pretty good. You can see how it's all silicone. Here's a comparison to the EVO. Besides being red on the inside, it's quite a bit thicker. And it has this extra lining on the inside. I think that's where some of the extra strength is the EVO is really touting. And of course, you know, the thing we're looking for is this port right here. Stock one does not have the port. Here's the port. If you don't opt for the blow-off valve, which I recommend you do, it already comes with this plug and hose clamp. So we're not going to need that plug or hose clamp. Why? Because we have this awesome little doodad. This is the blow-off valve. What does the blow-off valve do? Well, when you're giving a lot of boost to the motor and you let off all of a sudden, that boost doesn't magically go away. Some refer to it as like a turbo bark. So it's barking because it has all this back pressure coming back against it when you let off the throttle. So what this does, it relieves that back pressure. So instead of being back pressure fighting against the turbo, it releases here. So when you're back on the throttle again, you got boost instead of it fighting against that back pressure. So it gives you a little quicker throttle response. It actually does something. Not what's going to show up on the dyno, but probably in the seat of the pants when you're out duning or in the desert and you're on and off the throttle, you may feel the difference there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put on my blow-off valve and I'll tighten that clamp up. This is a 9/30 seconds, again, because I'm a rebel and I don't adopt the metric system quite yet. So we'll tighten that up. I'm going to transfer these hose clamps over. This is the key thing about these hose clamps. When you look at the EVO instructions, it tells you next install the EVO T-bolt clamps, which I've gotten in the past on my X3 and so on, but I didn't get this time. So I called up EVO and said, hey EVO, I didn't get my T-clamps to hold the boost tubes on. Oh, no problem, we'll send you out a hardware kit. So they sent me a hardware kit. That's what they sent me. I'll block off the plate. So, you know, other manufacturers, aftermarket manufacturers out there that are making boost tubes and stuff, they say that the stock hose clamps are pretty good. And you know what? These are a lot better than what came on the X3. So I'm just going to run these. I'm not going to, you know, say, hey, you sent me the wrong stuff, whatever else. I probably should, but, you know, if I run into the guys out at Glamis, whatever, I'll point it out and see what they say. Maybe it's just a misprint in their instructions. So let me get this lined up and we'll get it back on the car and we'll go over the other nuance about this. Okay, I got the new EVO boost tube. Something you might notice, it does have a port right here that you can use later if you're going to put like a boost gauge or you need another boost reference point. The key thing about this, it's right off the turbo, so it's showing you what your turbo's putting out. The flip side, it's not showing you the amount of boost that the engine's getting after it goes through the intercooler and everything. But you probably want to know what the turbo's putting out. You probably want to have two boost gauges if you really want to look at it like that. So let's put this back on. All lined up there. Lined up there. My hose clamp where I want it. I don't recommend using power tools, but it's do as I say, not as I do. Nice EVO, yeah. Okay, let's put the passenger side on. This one's a little easier to do because it's easier to get to. Now the throttle body is rubber mounted, so be a little careful. Don't use your gorilla strength on it. Make sure it gets on there all the way. 5/16. Take a good look, make sure you got even exposure of the end of it here all the way around. Make sure behind that lip that's inside the boost tube. Okay, there's the gist of the tubes themselves. Next comes the part I was talking about that's going to affect especially us California people. Okay, so blow-off valve requires some vacuum. It needs to know when it's seeing vacuum. So the kit comes, what I didn't show you earlier, comes with this hose right here, which is attached to a fatter hose. And they tell you to connect down here at the base of the throttle body. That's fine and dandy, but I need to show you something. And to show you and to work on this, you want to take this cap off the top of the intake. It has one screw back here, 5/16, and after that it just unsnaps. Well, I've taken that screw out already, and it unsnaps and gives you a lot more exposure. So on the EVO instructions, they point to an area right here that is capped off on the throttle body, and they say that's where you plug in this hose that they supplied that's going to end up here on the end of the blow-off valve. So here's the problem with that thought process on a California car. That's hooked up to smog. Man, I hope you can see this. I apologize. So this right here is the one they say that's capped, and it's not capped. It's got its hose and it's hooked to, I don't know, smog or who knows. I assume because it's a California car. So what you have to do, instead of, just take that off and then go into there instead, you might get a check engine light or something like that. So what you do is you put in a T, which is what I did there. I put a T into that port, and with that T, then you can hook the hose up that is supplied by EVO. So that is a big thing right there that I want to make sure you guys knew about. Probably the car the EVO is working on, this was capped, but on my car, which is actually a pretty early car, I bought it at the Sand Show. They told me one of the first ones in California to be bought. That is not capped. That's going to smog. Okay, so we've got the EVO supplied line, which is two-piece. It's small diameter on one side, larger diameter on the other. The larger diameter is teed into that port that's not plugged off on my car, assuming it's because it's a California car. And now we're going to put this onto the blow-off valve. It is a little bit snug, which is fine. I like to clamp these things. It's just a little hard to get in there with these pliers, but we'll get her. There we go. All right, there's that. All right, let's start to wrap this up. Okay, so simple job, really. I mean, any of you guys can do it. But again, I came across a couple things that was not in the instructions that you may come across also, and I wanted to make sure that I covered that for you guys. So, does it look much different than stock? No, but it does have a pretty cool logo on it. And it does have this nice port here for this nice little psh, psh, psh valve. This is thicker. I showed you that. It's got the extra liner on the inside. Is the outer liner the same as stock? I don't know. I assume that EVO is going to say it's better. Got our driver side all done. Goes down to the turbo. Again, double check those clamps. Last thing you want is for a boost tube to come off. So, key points is the clamps and the port here on the back of the throttle body. That's not a plugged port on my car. May not be a plugged port on your car. That little T I showed you, had to come up with that T myself. What about the T they sent? Oh, here's the T they sent. It's too small. Too small for those hoses. I used a metal tee that I can actually put clamps on, and then I just preferred that. What are you going to have left over? Well, you're going to have your old boost tubes left over. You're going to have your block off plug right there, and 2 extra springs for the blow-off valve. This one has a yellow stripe. This one looks to be a red or a purple stripe. What spring to use, when to use them, I don't know. But I will tell you this. I was looking at other people's blow-off valves for these cars. They came out with their blow-off valves before EVO did. I didn't like how they sound. Instead of being a psh, it was more like a psh. I don't know if you hear the difference there. High pitch. I put this one on. I recognize this blow-off valve. Same blow-off valve I had on my other cars, my other X3s and everything. They all sound psh. But even though this is the same blow-off valve I had before, now it goes psh, psh, almost a whistle. It's higher. So, yeah, I'm not emulating this very well, but hopefully this helps you. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. I appreciate all the new subscribers. I really do. It helps me out a lot. I'd like to get to 1,000 before the season's over. 6/10 of the way there, maybe more. So, thank you guys again, and we'll see you on the next video. We have some different stuff coming up. Way different than you saw before. A lot of you are going to like it. See ya.